7.9 magnitude earthquake hits Bougainville. PNG needs strategy to guide housing development. And call for higher standards of journalism.
This is the National EMTV News with Lorraine Gabina.
Good evening, Papua New Guinea, and thank you for joining me for Sunday's news. We start with a developing story. Ray Himata from Bougainville Disaster Coordinator says they are getting some reports of damages on the west coast of Bougainville following the 7.9 magnitude earthquake this afternoon, but says these reports will still need to be verified. Initial reports from the Department of Mineral Policy and Geohazards Management and the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center say the earthquake occurred 168 kilometers below sea level, which does not have the potential to generate tsunamis. However, people need to be on the lookout for abnormal waves that are below 1 meter. The earthquake was felt in the NGI region, with residents from Kokopo in East New Britain reporting that it started around 2:30 this afternoon. MTV journalist Fabian Hakelitz is on the ground in Bougainville and will be sending through updates on the aftermath of the earthquake when they become available. An academic says Papua New Guinea needs a strategy to guide housing development in the country. Professor Eugene Ezebilo from the National Research Institute discusses this in a new report that looks at housing affordability in Port Moresby.
The report is NRI's latest issues paper. In it, Professor Ezebilo discusses the challenges facing housing and its affordability in the city.
In other countries, housing is affordable when an average household pays 30% of their income to pay for housing. It should not be more than 30%. When it is more than 30%, then the household will have a housing affordability problem, which I think here in PNG, most of us have housing affordability problem because we cannot pay for housing.
Some of the things have been said before, and Professor Ezebilo reiterates them, especially when it comes to the role that the government should play in providing affordable housing in the country.
The main role of public sector should be playing facilitating role. That is provision of trunk infrastructure, such as pipe-borne water, good road network, then electric power, sewerage, and at the same time, develop policies that will be used to guide, housing development in the country. And another role is to monitor the standard of houses being built. And another role will be to monitor the activities of real estate agents.
Another vital piece that is missing in housing development in the country is a strategy to guide the development of affordable housing. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
More training needed for journalists to bring a higher standard of journalism, says President of Media Council of Papua New Guinea, Alexander Rini. He said this at the first press club training for mainstream media journalists leading up to the inaugural press club address on tomorrow.
Journalists from all mainstream media attended the press club training on Friday. Journalism integrity and a higher level of reporting were some of the points stressed at the press club training.
Interviewing, the emphasis on doing research, the emphasis on being prepared for a press conference. So these are basic journalism skills, and everything was covered in just over 2 hours. So on the whole, the training was successful, and I'm already looking forward to good performance at the inaugural press club event on Monday.
Media Council President Alexander Rini stressed that the mainstream media has been coming under a lot of pressure when it came to content being put out, and that more training is needed to improve standards.
We need to improve standards. We need to bring back standards, We need to improve the content that we are producing for Papua New Guineans. And this training workshop that we did this morning was a good opportunity for us to do that. And we need to do a lot more training workshops, because looking at the product that we are putting out, not only in print media but in electronic media, there's still a lot more work to be done.
With the inaugural press club tomorrow, Rini hopes that journalists who attend the training will be able to better represent the public through their questions.
Zooming in on the issues that matter to ordinary Papua New Guineans: health, education, welfare, gender-based violence, women empowerment, those sort of issues that ordinary Papua New Guineans really feel passionate about, and it affects their lives. Now, I'm hoping that our journalists will stand up and ask the questions that matter.
Adelaide Kari, National, EMTV News.
Catholic faithful in the Kerema Diocese now have a new bishop. Father Pedro Baquiero has been appointed to take up this post. Kerema Diocese has been without a bishop for 4 years. Father Baquiero has spent 10 years in mission work in the Gulf province. Betel nut traders at Tsubame have successfully petitioned local MP Justin Tachenko to allow them to sell the lucrative nut at the new Tsubame Market. Tsubame Market is the second market in Mosby South that has been allowed to house betel nut traders. The first market to be given the green light following the ban in the city was Koki Market.
Since the betel nut ban in Port Moresby, families making a living from betel nut sales were hit the hardest. While city security and police officers did their job to stop the illegal smuggling of betel nut into Moresby, betel nut smuggling still continued, and people kept selling betel nut within city surroundings with fear of challenges of the ban with police who confiscated betel nuts from people. Since then, Mosby South residents petitioned their concerns to local MP Justin Tachenko to help them find a safe place to sell betel nut so they could continue to sell and make a living. After negotiations with entity governor Powes Pakop, the people of Mosby South were given permission to sell their betel nuts inside the newly built Tsubame Market.
Now people come inside there. People sit down good, people relax, people market good, people looking money come inside. Now the customer come inside, so people stop inside now, market.
Tachenko says providing a safe place for people to continue to help and support their families in one way or another is the responsibility of their local leaders.
So this is a test to incorporate betel nut with our fruit and vegetable sellers and cooked food sellers. I think it will be a bonus to the fruit and vegetable sellers and the cooked food sellers, because we'll get more traffic coming into the market now. So while they buy their betel nut, they might buy something to eat or some vegetables to take home as well. So hopefully we see an increase in sales for the other sellers here that will help the market pick up and become bigger and better than it's already been.
Tsubame Market has also given vegetable sellers and residents the opportunity to buy and sell while providing informal job opportunities.
Because the betel nut sellers come here, the conditions are that there'll be no chewing of betel nut in this market at all.
The challenge for the people now is to keep the selling areas clean and free of betel nut spit and rubbish that can create health hazard to the people. Godwin Eki, National, EMTV News.
Among stories after the break, protests continue in major cities around the world as Donald Trump starts his first day as the 45th U.S. president. Welcome back to the news. A fun run to celebrate Australia Day led by the Royal Papua Yacht Club attracted a satisfactory crowd. RPYC General Manager Aaron Batts was pleased to have seen a good mix of different nationalities gathered to celebrate the anniversary of the 1788 arrival of the first fleet of British ships at Port Jackson, New South Wales.
As the sun emerged above the horizon, an enthusiastic crowd gathered at the RPYC premises for a spirited warm-up session before the run. They ran from there through the Paga Hill Ring Road and doubled back for a gentle warm-down. Among the crowd were some familiar faces, including the PNG Palais and PNG's UNDP resident representative, Roy Trivedi. Bats, an Australian himself, said he was happy to have celebrated the historic day among such a diverse crowd away from home.
It means a lot for my wife and kids to be away, but hello darling, yeah, look, it's getting, as I said, it's not necessarily for Australians, it's being part of a community, doing something healthy, having a smile on the face and enjoying the start to a beautiful day in this beautiful country.
While Australia Day is the official Australian National Day, its meaning has evolved over time. In present-day Australia, celebrations reflect the diverse society and landscape of the nation and are marked by community and family events. Today's Aussie Fun Run participants in Port Moresby gathered in the name of promoting a healthy lifestyle through regular exercise to celebrate the day. Melissa Gaviro, National EMTV News.
And in overseas news, law enforcement agencies estimate more than 1 million people protested across the U.S. against the hate speech and rhetoric of President Donald Trump. Around the world, people anxious about the new U.S. president and his agenda marched in favor of women's rights and against him.
Across the globe, they flooded the streets, young and old, women and men. From Berlin to Barcelona, Sydney to Mexico City, protesting the politics of America's new president and urging him not to turn harsh rhetoric into reality.
It was a sad day yesterday. I was at Barack Obama's inauguration 8 years ago, and yesterday was just a completely different feel, and I don't want that for my daughters. I want a much brighter, more loving future for them.
We're afraid of the bigoted rhetoric that is happening within America, transferring to Australia and becoming normalised and legitimised, and we don't want that to happen.
Between the signs and speeches, slogans of solidarity. I am a feminist. Show me a feminist. And a sea of pink knitted hats. In Britain, even the pets had a message, and women's rights were top of the agenda.
People think of it as a zero-sum game, that if you take more equality, it diminishes somebody else's. A lot of men, as a lot of women, understand that the opposite is true, that gender equality is better for everyone.
I'm here to stand up for equality and against bigotry and hatred. I'm here to show that we can be angry, but also funny.
This may have been a women's march, but it was also about so much more. Here in London, people took to the streets despite freezing temperatures and stayed on them for hours to make their views heard. Their message to the new US president: we may not have been your electorate, but your decisions will affect the whole world.
I'm here, Amnesty International is here amongst all of these thousands of other people, because we're concerned that rights that are being fought for and rights that we have been used to are under attack now. So it is hearing President Trump talk about immigrants, Muslims, the way that he talks about women. It is our concerns and our worries about that.
Worries that are being echoed the world over as Donald Trump takes his place in the White House.
Donald Trump moved fast to mend his relationship with the CIA in just his second day in office, a day after he set the tone for his term by delivering a searing inauguration address. He also complained about the media's treatment of him and accused television stations of not being truthful about the size of the crowd.
This day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
Minutes after taking the oath, President Trump defined a foreign policy focused very much at home.
Every decision on trade, on taxes, on immigration, on foreign affairs will be made to benefit American workers and American families.
Taking particular aim at trading partners China and Mexico.
We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs.
Now, reaction from allies and adversaries across the world. Allied Germany pushing back against a new American isolationism.
I believe firmly that it is best for all of us if we work together based on rules, common values, and joint action.
Mexico's president gave a diplomatic welcome to Mr. Trump, tweeting, quote, "I congratulate President Donald Trump for his inauguration. We will work to strengthen our relationship with shared responsibility." While former Mexican President Vicente Fox, an outspoken critic of Trump's pledge to make Mexico pay for a border wall, delivered blistering criticism, tweeting, "Speaking of allegiance, Trump, speaking of greatness, speaking of success, America was already great and successful. Then you happened." Chinese state newspapers predicted a trade war with its largest trading partner. One state newspaper writing, quote, "It is also highly probable that his U.S. might clash with China over trade." Even Russia, which has praised Trump as he has done in return, making clear that Moscow has its own interests. Russian President Vladimir Putin's spokesman saying in an interview, quote, "The acting administration will have to be introduced to all the nuances of our bilateral ties."
Don't go away, we have Trukai Sports up next.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The SP PNG Hunters held their second fun day at the National Football Stadium this morning. Hunters coach Michael Marum extended an invitation to the media to join the SP Hunters players and staff.
Fun games were played on the field. Sponsors and media personnel were put into different teams with players from the Hunters. The event started as early as 7 a.m. this morning and ended at 10 a.m. Speaking on behalf of the Hunters was Chairman Graham Osborne. He says the whole purpose of the fun day is to get everyone involved with the team.
We just want you guys to be involved in what we're doing, more so than it has been in the past. We've gone and played our games, done our pre-season, and then played, and you guys have been part. We want you to get to know these boys a bit better than that, and we want you to be part of what we do. So we've decided to have these little functions, and this is the second one. And from what I've seen this morning, it's been very successful.
Another fun day will be held later on during the year.
Halfway during the season, there'll be there's a situation where we have a bye, and for that particular area where a bye, we'll make sure that we have one during the season and just update everybody where it is, but have an enjoyable breakfast and a run around like we had today. So we'll update you on what's going on.
Osborne says he is quite confident with this year's team and thinks the Hunters can go all the way this season.
Well, I'm very confident. I've not been this confident for a long time. As far as the boys are concerned, as you well know, we have 9 new boys in our team. 9 new boys that are bigger and faster, and some of the other boys, as do in lots and lots of teams, other boys have just gone by the wayside and been part of Hunters and now had to move on to different things in life. It's a part of a team effort. We thank those boys for all for the last 3 years that they've given to us, but this year we've had to go for it.
The Hunters will play a trial match next month in Cairns against Northern Pride. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The Lebanon Rugby League Federation was pleased to announce the nomination of Ivan Cleary as the new head coach of the national team. Cleary, a former head coach of New Zealand Warriors and the Penrith Panthers, has agreed to take full responsibility of the Cedars at this year's Rugby League World Cup. Coming with a wealth of coaching experience overseeing the Warriors NRL side between 2006 and 2011 before starting a 3-year stretch with the Panthers in 2012 with a total of 249 games experience under his belt. Cleary is looking forward to working with the Lebanon team. Cleary says he is ready to take the opportunity of leading a developing nation to this year's Rugby League World Cup in October, a prospect he is willing to take up. Lebanon currently ranked 21 in the world, have been drawn in Pool A in this year's Rugby League World Cup and will play Australia, England and France during the pool stages, with the top 3 teams progressing to the quarterfinals. And the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow is after the break. Stay with us.
Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A look at your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. In Port Moresby, it's cloudy with a chance of light rain. In Darrow, it's mostly fine, then chances of brief afternoon showers. In Kerema, a chance of rain and cloudy with a chance of rain in Alotau and Popondetta. In the Momasa region, it's mostly fine in Lae and cloudy periods for Medang and Wewak. And in Vanimo, it's mostly fine and becoming cloudy later. In the New Guinea Islands, a shower or 2 for Lorengau and Kavieng, then few showers and thunderstorms for Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, and a shower or 2 imminent in Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen expecting cloudy periods with chance of light rain. And in Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, it's mostly fine, then morning fog.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Recapping our top stories again. 7.9 magnitude earthquake hits Bougainville. Housing strategy needed, and Media Council President calls for higher standards in journalism. And that ends National EMTV News this Sunday, the 22nd of January 2017. From the entire news team, I'm Lorraine Gabina. Good night.